Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks Off Topic Tuesdays. Now, this actually happened about 4 years ago. There was a church, there was a protest at a church for Wayne T. Jackson of Great Faith Ministries. And I think I remember this happening back then, but it happened to show up on YouTube. I think somebody else must have covered it. And so, since I'm doing off topic, adding it to my channel, I'm going to discuss this. As a Christian and a tithe payer, I remember years ago, and he's passed away now, but I had not I don't want to call it a debate, but I was talking to this man that I used to work with who had an issue with paying tithes. He looked at it like this: I'm not giving no grown blankety blank man no money. Particularly tithes. I want people to understand, if you're not a believer, this does not pertain to you. And I felt like it was very disrespectful for the leader, I guess they're of New Era Detroit, by the name of Zeke, went in and caused a ruckus. I guess the pastor, Wayne T. Jackson, was asking for $1,000 in tithes, and I guess saying, if you don't have 1,000, we'll take 300. If you don't have the money on you, go to your ATM. Now, that's brazen. That's very brazen. This is why it's very important to know the Bible for yourself and also use discernment when choosing a pastor. Now, I don't know this pastor, and I'm not going to judge him, but as a believer, as a Christian, you're only required to give 10% of your earnings. And if you want to give extra on top of that, that's fine, but you are required to give 10%. I've been paying tithes since probably my teens, and it has never hurt me, literally never hurt me to pay my tithes. And if anything, if you don't necessarily have to be a believer to know that when you're generous, it comes back to you in unexpected ways. It can come back to you in a monetary way or other blessings. And so, one of the things that Zeke, I don't know his last name, of New Era Detroit, and again, this was 4 years ago. One of the things that he said was, looking at this pastor, I think he drives a Rolls Royce, he lives in a mansion. And my thing is, all the while the people in the community are struggling and all of that stuff. My thing is, does Zeke have this same type of energy for the rappers that many black people in America support to become billionaires? Is the energy the same there for other people that acquire wealth and they're not giving back to the black community? Now, granted, if you are a church, I do believe that you should give back to the community. And I'm willing to bet, and again, I don't know this pastor, he probably does give to the community in other ways: soup kitchens, maybe clothing, things like that. But people have to understand, you can't help every single person with a sob story. I'm sure these churches have a budget set aside to help a certain segment of people at any given time. My issue with the Zeke person is he even a churchgoer? And I find that the main people that has had an issue with tithers or people paying tithes or pastors and churches receiving tithes are people who don't even go to church, don't pay tithes. And I'm like, why is it your concern? If anybody should be taking the pastors to task, it should be perhaps the people that go to the churches. And as for the people in the community who are struggling, as he put it, a lot of people put themselves in situations where they end up struggling. Children have no control over over struggling. I feel for the children, but grown adults, and I know good and well that those same adults would put hundreds, perhaps even thousands, but definitely hundreds of dollars into weave, into shoes, into concert tickets and stuff like that. And I remember years ago, Michael Bass, and I used to listen to him, but he just started just irritating my soul after a while. So I just stopped listening to him. But he used to talk about pimps in a pulpit, if you ever listened to him. And he has such a disdain for Christians. And I have to say, just because you're a Christian does not mean perfect. We're all fallible, just like any other human being. And as I said, I pay my tithes because that's my responsibility. Who I give my tithes to, what they do with it is between them and God. Once it leaves my hand, because that's what I was supposed to do, and it goes to the pastor or a particular church that I send my money to, that's between them and God, as I said. But I also, again, you have to use discernment to whoever you're paying your tithes to. If I felt like I was giving my tithes to a pimp in a pulpit or a false prophet or someone that's just getting their money for a lavish lifestyle, because I do sometimes wonder every now and then how many pastors, and I can name some, but since I don't know their heart, I'm not going to do that. How many pastors are actually wolves in sheep's clothing? They're not even true Christians or believers. They just talk a good game and figured out, oh, this is how I can get some free money, and it's going to be gullible people that's going to give it to me or whatever. So I'm talking to believers. You have to use discernment when giving your tithes and offerings. If I was sitting up in that man's church and he did that, again, I don't go to his church. So I don't know the entire context around that. And I'm going to post, excuse me, the video and perhaps the article. But if I had more of an understanding of the context, was it for a building fund? Was it to help the homeless? I don't know. But it was not up to the outsiders to come in and disrupt the church because, and here's the thing. Okay, so they might be giving back to the community, the people that came in and disrupted the church, but it still wasn't their place to do it. And another thing that might have gotten them upset is because Donald Trump had visited that very church either that year or a year earlier or during his campaign. And that might have triggered some people too, because they might figure, and I'm not a politics channel. So you guys notice I never talk about politics, but I have an opinion about Donald Trump and Democrats and Republicans and stuff like that. And I might do a video coming up on this white man who hates Black conservatives. So I'm going to talk about that. So that might have triggered people as well, because a lot of Black people believe that Donald Trump is a racist and he's rich. And then this Black pastor living a lavish lifestyle invites Trump to his church. And of course, that could be triggering for some people. So that is my topic today. And tell me what you think about off-topic Tuesdays. Do you want me to can keep doing this or whatever? I'll probably keep doing it anyway. But I hope you made it to the end. I hope you like, subscribe, share, check out my other videos before you do, and I will talk to you later. Bye.